So this one's going to be a little different from what I normally talk about because I've gotten some requests and I have seen some of it. And recently I went to the doctor with my husband because my husband does have high anxiety, a couple of the things. And so we were just getting a checkup for him, making sure all of his prescriptions are good, all that jazz. And one of the nurses that knew me, since I've been coming there for years, she came out and she's like, "Oh my God, it's been so long." Because honestly, once the pandemic hit, I didn't bother because I was a good little citizen and I didn't want to go to the doctors if I didn't need to. And on top of that, then my primary moved to a different office over an hour away. And I'm a Rhode Islander and traveling that far just isn't in our DNA. Not on a normal basis. So I was like, I'm good. I'm good. But I do have to go back to her now, obviously, because like I've told you guys, I am starting to plan on losing weight and at least getting back down to what I was before the pandemic, if not a lot more. I don't plan on documenting it. I've been recommended by some very good friends and coworkers to do it, but I just feel like I don't know. I will update you guys, but I'm not going to document it. But I'm getting distracted. I have to admit that there has been issues going to the doctors for me. This is one of the few things, and I'm going to cover it as well in another video where I'm going to talk about, the things the body positivity movement gets right. Now, I'm not going to say that they get this right, but what I am going to say is I'm going to put up, because I don't want to get copyright strike. I'm going to put up a couple of screenshots from an episode of The Golden Girls. And it's a very, very strong episode. And here's why. In it, if you know anything about The Golden Girls, I'm just going to pretend I'm going to describe the story as if you know. Because especially after Betty White died, R.I.P., Angel, you guys will know what I'm referring to. So in the episode, Dorothy, they start off that she is describing an illness she has that she doesn't understand. She doesn't know why she's sick. She's getting so tired that she cannot even stand. And every doctor she goes to tells her she's crazy. No matter where she goes, the doctors tell her there's nothing wrong with her. They've run every known test. And that, Mrs. Spornak, there's nothing wrong. You're just tired. Oh, you're just old. Oh, you're just lonely. They go with every excuse in the book. And she goes to this one specialist in, I believe, New York City. And this guy is supposed to be one of the best of the best. And she asks him, "Doctor, what's wrong with me?" And the man essentially tells her she's a lonely woman who's divorced and she should just go get her hair dyed. She'll be fine. And she happens to have a friend who's a pediatrician. And he tells her, "Those doctors don't know you like I do. I know you. You're a smart woman. You wouldn't lie about this stuff. You've got a strong head. If you say you're sick, you're sick." He says, "I'm going to send you to this doctor. This doctor's smart. He knows what he's talking about." So he sends her to this doctor. And this doctor knows what's going on with her. Now, we've heard of it today. It's chronic fatigue syndrome. And she finally gets an answer for what's hurting her. And it so happens at the end of the episode, the doctor that told her she should just go get her hair done in New York happens to be in a high-end Miami restaurant where she is, where she's celebrating that she's finally found out what's wrong with her. And she walks up to him and he doesn't even remember her. And she absolutely tears him a new one in it. And she tells him at the end, "I was just a scared person and you made me feel crazy. So despite the fact that how angry I am, I wish that if any of this ever happens to you, that your doctor is a better doctor to you than you were to me." And, that episode does always sit in my head because I do believe in some cases, especially with men, women, anyone who has some kind of mental illness, because I show signs of different mental illness. full disclosure, I don't know the word for it. I heard it once. I talked to my doctor about it, and we looked it over together, and she confirmed I have it. She prescribed me some anxiety medication at the time, but I don't take it. And it's trick, TRICH. I'll try to look up the word for it. But essentially, it's when you obsessively pick at things. Might be hair, might be zits, might be scabs. Depends. And it's just, or skin. It's why when someone asks why I don't have any tattoos visible, well, actually, it's because, and I think I spoke about this on stream not too long ago to somebody. Might have been even Gothics. But, oh no, it was at my job in Texas. I can't have a tattoo where I can see it because I know it'll bother me. It'll make me upset that it's where I can see it. How silly is that? But it's true. But I was told that I was just being a vain teenager when I did that stuff when I was younger. They didn't want to even look at me. They called me morbidly obese when I was 12 for being 20 pounds overweight. And I remember thinking, morbid? It's a bit of a dark thing. But I didn't know any better. If the doctor says I'm that way, the doctor says I'm that way. Now, yes, as time went on, I did become morbidly obese. But the fact that they were willing to write me off at 12 years old and put me on diets then, that was crazy, especially when considering they would ask, well, my mother, what are her eating habits? My mom would be like, she barely eats. She doesn't eat a lot. Eats 3 meals a day, doesn't snack, which was all true. Fairly active. I was in sports. I played in the local baseball league for 5 years. I was the umpire and I was right field. I don't know. I knew I had to walk a long way out and a long way back. My parents were Italian, so every time there was a project around the house, guess what? We didn't hire people. We painted the walls. We moved the furniture. We did all that stuff. We weeded and did our entire acre of land. So I was a fairly active kid. But as far back as I could remember, for the longest time, I didn't like doctors because anytime I had a problem, the doctor didn't have a solution. When I was younger, I fully admit this. The doctor just said I should lose weight. My eczema, which when I did lose weight, didn't go away. I still have it today. My scalp has had such bad eczema that it is something that is, in a lot of ways, a struggle that I have that I don't talk about all that often. I just acknowledge that it's there. I live with it. My IBS, I remember having it as young as 5 years old. And I told my mom, and my mom told me I was crazy. But I looked up things recently, lining up from when I was a kid, and it all made sense. The foods I chose, why I was afraid of certain foods. I love my brother, but he also didn't help. He made me phobic to some things. And maybe I'm derailing the topic here and getting a little off subject. But I remember feeling like every time I went to the doctor, the only thing they worried about was that I had an extra 10 pounds here, an extra 20 pounds there. And I was like, they don't seem to really care about fixing what might be wrong with me. Didn't feel really like I had any support. And I remember very much once, there's this facility in Rhode Island called Thunder Mist. And I was pretty poor during my teens and early 20s. And this place was a godsend because it was a facility that did optometry, it did dentistry, gynecology, general practitioner, everything you needed. And it didn't matter what age you were. You could take the whole family. I loved this. It was an all-in-one. Very convenient. And I would go there because one of my points in pride was having my own health insurance when I first started working for Walmart back in the day. Loved that. So I went there, and I won't go into details of the issue, but eczema sometimes creates other issues, and there's an issue I've had ever since I hit puberty. And it wasn't just weight gain, because puberty is when truly weight gain started for me, and this issue happened around the same time. And I was at the gynecologist, and I had been suffering with it I had just met my husband. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I was like maybe 20, 21 years old. And I finally had the guts to ask the gyno. And I said to her, I was like, I have this problem, and I described the problem. And I was like, and it's very painful. And I've had it for a very long time, and I don't understand it. Is there anything I can take? A shot or something? And this is this woman's reaction. And this is why I didn't have a gynecologist again until after I was married. You people have to understand that medical science can't just heal all your problems. Sometimes you just have to deal with it. So no, you're not going to have a shot. You're not going to get something to help you. Live with it. And that was almost identical to how she said it to me. And I was like, I felt ashamed. I felt mad at myself. I felt like I was ungrateful. How could I expect medical science to help me when it's just something that I have to deal with? When I finally got the guts to get a gynecologist again, and again, this was after I got married because I wanted to have children, I went and I talked to the gyno. And I asked about it idly, and she told me what it was. She said, yeah, that's a condition. Usually if you have eczema or psoriasis, it's very easy for you to also have this. And she explained what causes it. And she said, there is a shot that can help you. The only problem is it's not good if you're trying for a baby. So I didn't even think about it. And well, now that I'm in my mid-30s, I might look at that shot again. But I remember thinking to myself, that's all my gyno had to say. And she wouldn't. I don't know why. And that always bugged me. And I will say that that's a lot of what I've had with doctors. Because then I had to switch doctors from the doctor that told me about the shot to a different one where my primary was. And that gynecologist, I ran every test with her. And I said before, I ran every fertility test you could. Within reason. There's only procedures I couldn't get done because they cost thousands of dollars. And I ran every test you could think of. I ran my hormones, I ran my blood, I did my cycle. I got ultrasounds about it, had my husband tested, had his blood tested, everything. And I asked her, I said, well, what is the problem? She said, we can't find any reason. I said, well, you said that my weight is a factor. She goes, well, I thought it might be. And I said, well, what makes your weight a factor? She goes, well, when your cycle's out of alignment and when your estrogen is up. And she named a couple of the hormones. And I'm like, well, my cycle's always on time, except in high stress situations. I said, what about my hormones? She said, they're all perfectly normal. I said, so then what do we do? She goes, well, it couldn't hurt to lose weight. I said, but I want to know a solution for my infertility. She goes, well, you have unexplained. I said, so you have no idea why I am infertile? She said, no, but it couldn't hurt to lose weight. I said, so you're blaming it on my weight, but you have no evidence it's my weight. And she was like, well, no. And we're not sure, and she kept saying, but it couldn't hurt to lose some weight. Okay, I said, but doctor, can you tell me that the weight is a factor? You tell me the weight is a factor, I will lose it. I said, but I know people double my size who have been pregnant 5 times. And I was going over all these different things. I said, I just need you to tell me, because the thing is, no matter what, and this is something that, main reason why I believe the body positivity people don't want to do this. And I said it on my TikTok, as a matter of fact. I think part of the reason why they are digging their heels in about saying being overweight is fine and there's no issue with it is because losing weight is exceedingly stressful and hard. Okay? It's difficult. It takes a lot of effort. It's painful. You have to change yourself a lot. You've got to change everything you're doing, because if you've gotten into a comfortable state, it's very difficult to lose weight. I don't know why me saying it is going to sound profound to some people, but it's the truth. And I feel like that is why they dig in their heels so hard about being BOPO. I don't think it's because they truly believe being overweight is great. I believe it's because they've gotten to a point where they don't believe they can lose the weight, or they don't believe they have it in them to deal with that stress. And so rather than admit that, they are going to fight against you and everything else. And that's what I told the doctor, something similar. I said, doctor, I don't want to go through all of that stress, because at the time, my mental state, I had suffered several miscarriages, and they were very early on, 6 to 8 weeks. I got positive pregnancy tests, and the babies were gone before I could even get an ultrasound in. And I remember feeling just absolutely low, and I hated myself, and I knew if I went through all that, and I lost all that weight, and I would still miscarry, or I still couldn't get pregnant, I knew what it would do to my mental state. And so I said to her, you need to tell me that you guarantee that you believe that me losing weight would be a very good factor in me getting pregnant. And she told me she couldn't. She goes, I can't. I just say that it can never hurt to lose weight. I'm like, so you have no idea and no confidence that I could get pregnant. You just want me to lose weight. And I remember feeling just very defeated. And I stopped going to her not too long after that. It didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel like she worried about me. Now, other people did. My primary doctor did try to run other tests and find out. For a while, she thought I might have PCOS. Then we found out that was just stress. And that's because I was also taking Saxenda. Saxenda's a bitch. If you want to lose weight, I don't really want to recommend it. If you want to lose a little weight, like if you're big like me, Saxenda will take off about 40, 50 pounds, and then it stops and you just keep puking. So don't do it. But if you're like half my size and you just want to get back down to where you want to be, so if you weigh like 200, 210 and you want to get back down to like 160, 150, then consider it. And talk to your doctor. I'm not a medical advisor. But someone suggested this today, and that's why I had to talk about it, because I will be the first to say that I haven't had the most positive of experiences with the medical field. I have not had the most positive of experiences as a patient. As a matter of fact, and this is where I don't like to warn, but I do believe there's sometimes where you get a little bit grody. And I do like to make sure people know these things. When I first married my husband, again, warning, if you do not want to hear about relations between a married couple and just problems that can happen to a woman, you might want to skip ahead. And I'll even put right here on the screen the minute you can skip to, if you don't want to hear about this. So just because even for me, and I'm usually the honesty queen, I know it can be a little weird for some folks. But during that time, this was before I had gotten my official diagnosis for IBS, which is what was causing it. My IBS coupled with my, my luteal phase. I was, it's a time when you're supposed to try to get pregnant. I didn't realize that I would actually get horrible cramps so bad that they would actually Charlie horse the inside of me. Now, this is something that I knew I had gotten when I wasn't having relations with my husband, but this happened while we were here in North Carolina the first time, while we were in the hotel, And I was just, we had time together, and the health insurance that I had was a 24-hour nurse that I could call and I could ask questions. And I had felt horrible pain, excruciating pain. It felt like someone was punching me from the inside up, even after we were done. And nothing else was out of the ordinary from it, but this pain was extraordinary. I felt it in my entire lower region. Everything was cramping. It was essentially a Charlie horse, but in my entire pelvis, and I was in pain. And I went to the ER here in town. And the doctor who had been down there said, well, I'm betting it's like a yeast infection or something. And I was like, do you see one down there? He's like, no. I said, well, I don't know what's going on. I said, I felt this stuff. I felt this happening. And the doctor laughed at me. Like, this doctor acted like I just didn't understand what sex was. And there was no reason for him to make me feel silly, because I was in a lot of pain. Now, years later, I talked to the general practitioner that I like now, and I told her about all this. And again, we did a little bit of back checking, and we sat down and we pieced things together. And that's when we realized what was happening. And the reason why I tell this story, welcome back to everyone who wanted to skip ahead. The reason why I tell this story is because I don't care if you're fat. I don't care if you're thin. I don't care if you're young. I don't care if you're old. I don't care if you've had 30 doctors treat you like shit. I say this because I know people who aren't here today because they didn't say enough about what was wrong with them when they needed to. I know people who have issues today because they didn't ask enough questions. And I know people that will never have answers because they can't remember what they needed to, and stuff sneaks up on them too late. Never be afraid to say everything you need to your doctor. And here's why. Even if your doctor dismisses you, like the many I described in these stories, then that means you need a new doctor. And you can go to as many doctors as you need to till you find the right one. I did. And it's worth it. When you have a doctor that you can trust, beyond worth it. And so I brought all this up because for me, in some ways, the body positivity and the feminists are right. But in some ways, they're not. Because it's not that all doctors are like this. But you have a lot of doctors who've been practicing for a long time. Going back to my original story at the beginning of this video, doctors, when they don't know something, they're jaded. They do this job for a long time, and sometimes they get people that lie to them, people that are crazy. And after a while, they stop caring. Not because they don't care, but because they're just tired. And regrettably, people like me, and probably people like you, suffer as a result. Is it fair? No. But is it the way it is? Yes. And so what I will say to you, my friends and my followers, is that I've seen it happen to multiple people where they have something that isn't diagnosed yet. And worse, when they have something that is diagnosed, but doctors are afraid to take that step. Do yourself the favor. Ask the questions, do the research, and be confident in what you feel is wrong. Because there's a lot of answers that I have now because I'm an overly honest woman. I don't care if I make the doctors uncomfortable. My husband suffered with his anxiety for a very long time. And it's because a lot of people just see anxiety as one thing or another. And my husband used to fight me on all of it. And now he is so much better for just taking those steps and working towards his mental health. And there's multiple other things. Not it's his stuff, not mine. But it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to do the scary. I call it the big scary. It's okay to do the big scary. It's only scary at first. But once you get past that, once you grapple with whatever it is, you will find you're much happier in the long run. Just food for thought. I'll see you guys in the next one. And that's another one, guys, about, just me and more of my experience, with the medical field and how I've been treated, and just a little more of a dose of reality, and trying to play devil's advocate a little bit too. But this is also the start of something else I've been wanting to introduce. I want to congratulate people in our community, because I don't have a giant community, but you guys are amazing so far. And you've been nothing but wonderful. And I get so many comments from you all about either, you're after your weight loss journey, or you're still on it, or you're recovering from addiction, or you're recovering from drugs or anything else, and that somehow my videos are helping you, which is just, that's incredible to me. So I wanted to, just give you guys a shout out. So I asked everybody on my community page a week ago to send me your weight loss journey. So here we go. I am highlighting my first 3. First up is Nicole. Congratulations. She started out at 315 pounds and now she is at 173. So, woo! Nicole, beautiful. Then we have Miss Hannah, and Miss Hannah started out at 256 pounds and now is down to a sleek 160. Congrats to you, Hannah. And then we have T. T started out at 200 pounds and is all the way down to 120. So big round of applause for everybody. That is fantastic. I just wanted to shout you guys out for that one. Listen, a lot of the people that have emailed me so far, most of you started in 2020. Most of you started your weight loss journey then. And, that's pretty kick-ass for only just about 2 years. Yeah, that's doing something right. Don't forget to check out my peeps at No System. So nosysnos.com. They are always running beautiful sales. Now we're in February, so we have a little bit of new pin curiosities up if you want to check those out. I want to thank my patrons. I now have 10. Oh my God, I'm impressed. I was so happy. I've accumulated some over the last few days. Just want to let you guys know you can get a lot of benefits from joining my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You can join in and you're going to get access to my videos. You're going to get early access. You're going to get exclusive artwork, exclusive videos that are only going to be on my Patreon. We have monthly giveaways, and there's just a lot more. I'm trying to interact with it. I'm going to be starting Zoom calls for only my patrons. So I'm going to be on just, face to face. They're not really going to be on Zoom, though. They're going to be on my Discord. By the way, patron exclusive Discord. But I just want to thank all of my patrons, because you also get video shout outs. I want to thank John Quinn, Emil DeVry, Sherry Molosky, Anime Chan, Brandon Kearley, Danielle Moriando, Maria, Panda Bear, E-Day, and Lisa. And I also want to congratulate E-Day. She was the winner this month for the keychain and sticker and print giveaway. And, just letting you guys know these are where all my social medias are, and you can follow me on all of them. I'm constantly posting everywhere these days. I'm just trying to be better about actually talking. But all right, guys, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And just remember to tell the people that are important to you that you love them and that to be safe. So, guys, I love you. Be safe. Have a great day. Don't forget to comment and subscribe and like and share.